Do you want to go see a few more cactus? Hello, welcome to Juniper Level Botanic Garden, the home of Plant Delights Nursery. I'm collecting cactus for our cactus cutting giveaway at our open house, or summer open house. Most of them will be opuntias, but these are cylindropuntias. It's a genus that used to be lumped with opuntia, but then taxonomists decided that there are enough reasons to separate the opuntias from the cylindropuntias. So you can figure out the cylindro part is referring to the cylindrical stems, and some of the cylindropuntias are known as jumping choyas. I think of them as the wearable cactus. You bump into them and usually one is attached to your clothing or whatever. Not much of a problem in the winter when I'm wearing 85 layers, but in the summer when I'm down to very few, not so much fun. But it's really a major propagation method for this plant. If a furred or feathered creature bumps into it, or a human with clothes or skin bumps into it, a branch will freely break off. Maybe one would, you can never guarantee that these actors will perform as expected when you don't pay them anything. Anyhow, you bump into it, more often than not, a piece will be attached to it. If you're a coyote and you run miles away and finally it falls off, well, your mom has finally spread herself around. There is a belief I'm aware of, it's the origin of the name jumping choya. There is a belief that they're attracted to the humidity of a sweating body. So the idea is if you're standing close enough to it, one piece will detach itself and hurtle itself through the air and attach itself to you. I think that's total nonsense. But just like the opuntias, the pieces that do break off end up on the ground. You see there's a bunch of small pieces, but here's a small piece. You can see the original piece that has broke off is now this yellowed part, and it has rooted into the ground and it's putting up a new shoot. So it hasn't spread far from home, but it has propagated itself and spread a little bit further. I didn't even see this one hiding in this Tradescantia, but that's another means of propagation. They have moderately showy flowers. I believe the cylindropuntias lack the glochids, the little bristles that most of the opuntias have. And in some cactus in general, the spines are more to shade the body of the plant than to protect it from herbivores. Some of the other cylindropuntias have really, really prominent and abundant spines, and they're not all that unfriendly, those types. And the spines are more to provide a little bit of shelter from the blazing hot desert sun. Any of the cactus you see in our gardens have been surviving zone 7B winters for decades. Now we're a little bit warmer, zone 8A. And so if you can provide them a sunny location, as sunny as possible, good drainage. A lot of them don't need sharp drainage, just good drainage. And like many desert plants, they don't mind water. They're just able to go without water for extended periods of time. Because when we do get rain, they'll make good use of it. You can see that its neighbors here are agaves and yuccas and other cactus. But I do want to point out a couple really interesting cactus. This is a full-grown Opuntia fragilis. It's one of the very cold hardy species. This little guy was collected in Lake Michigan, not in the lake, but up by Lake Michigan. And you can see an individual pad. That's an individual pad right there. And so the whole plant is a towering 1.5 to 2 inches. It'll have fairly good size, I believe, yellow flowers. And this is a very widespread species. And this is a unusually tiny representative of that species. Many of the other ones are, 4 times this size. I see it's another wearable cactus where I can't get it off my gloves very readily. But a charming little thing. Could grow it in a pot. I think that would actually be a better location so it doesn't get overlooked. But the cactus and other desert plants may not be your cup of tea if you want your plants to be cuddly, but they're endlessly fascinating and they have their own beauty, and I thoroughly enjoy them and put up with a few bristles in my hand. Same species as the spineless one, but not the spineless version of them. Sure is beautiful. Oh, can you manage to get over this? This is another prickly perennial, Opuntia. It's Opuntia pailana, Pailana, Mariposa monstros. But it's an example of a Opuntia that is all these tiny little bristles rather than any prominent spines. But it's made a really beautiful clump. A bit over, almost 4.5 feet tall. And, going through, let's see, when was it planted? It's planted in 2019, so it's about 7 years old. I might harvest a little bit of this for giveaway. Beautiful, beautiful plant. And I guess the monstrous characteristic is that the pads are sort of oddly wavy and folding rather than uniformly flat. Certainly not as monstrous as a crested cactus. This Opuntia azurea, I just think is a gorgeous plant. I'm focused on the beauty of the pads. They're so clean and such a beautiful blue color, almost blue-gray, sort of like a hosta. It has these really long, some of these spines are over 2 inches long, maybe almost 3 inches long, and it is just, I don't know, I just think that it's exquisitely beautiful. Again, not for everybody. I know we have some viewers that like cactus, like Cyrus and Sam and others. So come out to our open house and enjoy all the prickly wonders. Thank you for your time today, and I hope to see you again in the garden.